Numbers. That's what I do. Fiscal Health Index. I do dollars. Okay.
Meet the world's biggest loser, Daniel Krug. For 2 months, Daniel orchestrated an incredibly complex murder plot, all to stop his wife from leaving him.
Her husband, Daniel Krug, is accused of sending her threatening messages months before her death, pretending to be her ex-boyfriend.
Now in the face of his horrible acting, detectives will realize that Daniel is not at all the concerned husband he pretends to be.
We have a lot of information that points your direction, and we were hoping that you could provide a legitimate explanation of that it wasn't me. You have your theory. It is wrong. I don't want to be here anymore. Please let me know when I can return to my house.
Around noon on December 14th, 2023, Broomfield, Colorado's non-emergency number received a concerning call. Daniel Krug hadn't heard from his wife, Christine, in 3 hours. Despite both of them being at their demanding jobs that entire time, for some reason, Dan was so worried about her that he demanded a welfare check. When police arrived, they made a shocking discovery. Christine, a talented dancer, gifted biochemical engineer, and loving mother, was dead on the garage floor, having been struck on the back of the head and then stabbed in the chest. Immediately, Daniel was brought into the station to help police. At this point, he was familiar with the station and the detectives, because just a few days prior, Daniel had been at the station as part of another investigation. For nearly 2 months, Christine had been receiving threatening texts from her ex-boyfriend, who they called Kickman, whom she believed was stalking her. By the time Daniel sits down the day of Christine's murder, detectives have already figured out who the person sending the texts is, and it isn't her ex. The following footage was provided to us via FOIA request with the Broomfield Police Department in Colorado.
You have a seat on the couch. Am I a bit more comfortable than everywhere else? So, again, I know this is the last thing in the world that you ever want to experience. We're trying to do our very best to figure everything out. Okay? So I understand you have 2 phones with you. Those phones are, you said one's a work phone and one is your personal, right? So, who do you work for?
The state.
The state. What do you do for the state?
Department of Public Health.
Okay.
I do money.
Money for them?
Shopping.
Well, you're still going to need this stuff on the list.
Public health.
And environment.
I do operations. I do money.
That's how it all works. So, your home security system, you access that through your personal phone?
Google Nest.
That's Google Nest, okay.
This fixing me.
Okay.
Just a home.
Home, okay. So I have your permission to operate this phone and get what we need?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many different cameras do you have?
4. Doorbell. Side of the house. Driveway. Back door.
How long have you had it?
Camera or doorbell, a couple years. Sorry. Doorbell, a couple years.
So when do your cameras go off? Do you ever have them set to turn off?
24/7.
Okay.
They don't turn off.
The cameras. Who has the ability to go in the aperture itself?
Christine, me, and
It's alright. It's alright, Dan.
and house phone.
House phone.
Tell me where you are.
I'm in the Google Nest app.
No. Home. Home shows all four.
Oh, perfect.
And I don't know that once. Home. I can settings.
Okay. Oh,
just us.
Just you guys. Okay.
As a result of the threatening messages Christelle had been receiving, she ordered 4 cameras to be set up in the house. One filmed the backyard, one filmed the side yard, one filmed the front door, and another filmed the garage. Not only did Christelle have cameras covering every possible entrance of their house, she also had alarms on every single door and window, and kept them locked at all times. As Daniel has stated, the only person capable of controlling the cameras and shutting them off are himself, his eldest daughter, and Christelle, which makes what happened to the cameras even more damning. Detective Martinez, who Christelle and Daniel have been meeting with in relation to the stalking, enters the room, which means it's time for Daniel to put on a show. Unfortunately for him, his wife and daughter are the only talented actors in the family.
Yep.
I know, I did what you said. Call the police. Couldn't reach you. Call the police. I did what you said. I didn't protect her. It's not your fault. I was to protect her. It's not your fault. I'm sorry I didn't answer. I actually wasn't in today. As soon as I heard it. I should have. Christelle said she was leaving you. I don't know where that came from. I saw that screenshot that they sent. Did she mention anything about that prior to that text? She was supposed to. She just texted. She didn't answer. What did I ask for these keys? Oh.
The morning of Christelle's murder, Daniel received a text from her phone stating that she needed him to pick up one of their children from school because she had a meeting scheduled with Detective Martinez. The meeting, however, didn't exist, and Martinez hadn't even spoken with Christelle. Daniel texted Christelle back saying that he would pick up their child. When she didn't respond after a few minutes, he then called and texted her several times within a less than 2-hour span. He even sent the detective a screenshot of his unanswered texts and calls to Christelle saying, "This feels weird." Christelle had a high-paying and incredibly demanding job in the biochemical engineering field, and it wasn't unusual for her to be unable to answer texts for long periods of time. Daniel's panic, which included contacting the detective with proof that he tried to reach his wife, only made investigators more suspicious.
Dan, when did you leave the house today? Guess. Approximate.
8:20. It's on the count.
You said 8:20, and you left in which vehicle?
Mine.
Which is a?
Black Monster.
Okay. 8:24 sound right?
Okay.
You left out of the garage?
Always. Okay. Was her car in the garage at the time? Yeah. She was rushing me out the door. Didn't feel good. I was late leaving. She told me I had to go because she had a meeting. She was rushing me, and I went. She was
She was in the kitchen. She was in the kitchen.
And you couldn't get a hold of her. She sent you that text. And that's as much contact as you have with her today.
And I panicked when the check marks weren't there. I did.
What do the check marks mean?
Read receipts.
Got it. What's your guys' interactions been like leading up to this?
Tested. I felt like she was keeping the secrets.
In what way?
She didn't tell me about Hickman. She keeps disappearing for hours. I told her when this was done, we should divorce. I don't want to divorce her. I told her she can't keep secrets. I asked for a divorce. Kickman. For a month before she told me. She would leave and be gone for so long. Last night. No, not last night. No, Thursday. Tuesday. She left 2 hours early to get moved on. No reason, just 2 hours early. She kept leaving early, coming home late. I asked where? She wouldn't tell me.
Daniel has yet to consider that the reason why Christelle was staying out of the house is because she didn't want to be around him. It's a fact that all of her friends and family knew. For months, she had been confiding in loved ones that she was seeking a divorce from Daniel, and that he was begging her to stay, meaning him asking for a divorce never happened. That brings us to Kickman, whose real name is Anthony. Anthony dated Christelle from 1999 until late 2000, and their relationship ended on relatively good terms. Anthony had reached out to Christelle in 2002, 2005, 2010, and 2016 trying to reconnect with her, but in October of 2023, a very different kind of text came to Christelle's phone. If I read what the text that Christelle received said word for word, I'd have to wash my mouth out with soap. The messages, which came from a track phone number claiming to be Anthony, told Christelle to die if she didn't have relations with him. For these aggressive texts continued. Little did Christelle know they were coming from a track phone that her husband had bought at a local Walgreens. Eventually, police would find footage of him purchasing the phone. Covering his tracks isn't this guy's strong suit.
This is cell phone consent, which would allow us to go through your cell phone so we can verify the communications between you and Christelle and everything like that. But in order for us to do that, you need to allow us to do that. Is that something that you'd be willing to? Yeah. So we can download your phone, just so we can match up all the information that we'll get from Christelle's phone to your phone, and that way we can kind of backtrack everything.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And again, this is voluntary. You're providing your consent to allow us to do that. I just want to make sure that we're clear on that.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to print your name here. Make, model, phone number, and any password you have, and then any of these accounts. And then if you can also include in one of these the share account for the Nest cameras and the Google stuff. So how do you share videos?
Do you know how?
move out in person. Maybe do that? Okay. So you said the cameras are on all the time.
Yeah.
Looks like about 8:15, a lot of them go off.
The side yard, the signal gets weak.
Mm-hmm.
I'm buying a booster. But that one gets interrupted, but no, they don't turn off. There's no point.
So
it needs power.
So in this, it shows the last events in the library. Under the library tab, it shows yesterday at 8:22, 08:22, of nothing, just darkness. And before that, it shows what looks like you in the driver's seat. Right? Is that you?
No, that's her.
Oh, that's her. Okay, sorry. No, I can't really see it.
Okay. It needs a length of video to upload to the cloud. So that usually means parked and got out real fast.
Okay, so there's nothing on that. That shows. And then you have the nest for the doorbell.
And if you just touch
it. Why is it blue?
Why is it blue?
It was blue very much of the day.
It's not supposed to. That's the view.
About 8:15. It goes off like.
It's not supposed to go off like this.
And then it comes back at.
They're all hardwired.
10. No. Maybe 10:15.
What happened to 10:50?
That's when it looks like the camera came back on. Thereabouts. Or not. It's really hard to tell. Because there's a recording event around 11:30, but not really at the same time. It shows there's activity. It has a indication that there's something there. But then it says the camera's off on.
It's not supposed to go off.
It's not supposed to go off unless someone specifically goes into the app settings and turns the cameras off. The doorbell camera in the front of the house strategically had blue painter's tape placed just hours before Christine is believed to have been murdered. Other cameras were conveniently turned offline at 8:15, right around the time Christine was killed. Miraculously, the only camera that stayed on was a camera pointing at the driveway, which showed Daniel going to work about 20 minutes later than usual.
And you mentioned earlier that she didn't tell you about something kicks. Which one was that?
Kickman.
Kickman.
That's what we call a stalker. Doesn't deserve a name.
Okay, which
Came up with Kickman because
I remember having that
Molly
conversation.
was going to kick his.
I remember having that conversation with you. What, do you remember that email address that she didn't tell you about?
It's in a log.
Okay.
I didn't have to remember it's in a log. Something kicks.
Alright,
You have the log, right?
I do have the log. Make sure I'm getting the timeline right again. She didn't tell you about this a month before it even got reported to me. Or was there a new something that you were unaware of between the time it was reported to me and now?
I don't remember when she went to you. I don't. I'm visualizing the log. She got, Kickman reached out early October. I don't know when. She told me after Halloween, when she got the picture of me.
Yeah.
And I don't know why she did this.
We know exactly why Christelle took so long to tell Daniel about the text messages that were supposedly from her ex. Because she didn't trust him. Christelle only told Daniel about the text when she received an email claiming to be from Anthony that included a photo of Daniel in his parking lot at work, threatening to harm him. Later investigation would determine that the photo was taken on Daniel's phone, which he had propped up against a tire. Not only was Daniel posing as Christelle's ex to try and scare her, but he was taking photos of himself and threatening his own life to get her to confide in him. The real tragedy is that throughout this, there were children involved. Children who, much like their mother, became terrified for their lives.
Right? You want to scare kids, right? Your kids do not know yet. Okay?
They're here.
They're here. They're right in the hall. You want to tell them. No, they're not scared. They know they're at the PD. They know something happened. Your oldest saw
She saw
video. Yeah, you asked her to turn it off. We are entertaining them. We're getting them donuts. We are treating them like children and caring for them as children. Okay? Do you want to be who shares that news with us? What do you need and what do you want? You don't have to know. You don't have to know. That's not on you. Out there, I'm going to share you what your in-laws are saying out there, okay? Your in-laws are arranging, if it's okay with you, between your brother-in-law, your father-in-law, your mother-in-law, and your sister-in-law to share the news. Is that something that you want? Do you want it to come from them? Do you want it to come from us? They agree that could be a good plan.
I should.
You want to tell them?
I just.
Okay. The best thing in this scenario is to be dad, to say that word clearly, and be there for them afterwards.
Don't really take note.
What's going on?
So, we had something happen when we came after
Action?
action happened today. So, somebody showed up at the house. Okay?
Is my money okay?
I think your money is fine.
What about Mom?
Mommy? No, Mommy, she's a fighter. Come, kick back, because Mama's gonna kick. Right?
Uh-huh. What about Mommy?
Mommy got hurt.
With a gun? A gun?
I don't know.
Is she okay?
No. Mommy's not okay. Mommy's not going to be.
After this, Dan tells his children that their mother has died. They sob and scream for several minutes, and it is truly unbearable and inhumane to listen to. Hearing their agony is made even more disturbing by the fact that the person who took their mother away is the same person comforting them. And while the kids may have no idea, nearby police are starting to put the pieces together.
She sacrificed herself for us.
Yeah. I have to believe she put up a fight. A big fight.
Christelle was found having been attacked from behind with a blunt object. Dan is right. She would have put up a fight, which is precisely why he cowardly hid and attacked her as she was walking away from him. Otherwise, with her concealed carry training and ferocity, she would have taken him down. After about 25 minutes, the children were taken out of the room and ushered to Christelle's parents, allowing the investigation to continue.
Let me check on where Detective Martinez is, okay? Is that who you were speaking with, or was it Detective Lee? And if you don't know, I'll figure it out.
Oh.
Both. Okay. Let me check on that. And either myself or they will pop back in, okay? Okay.
The kid should have been allowed the chance to grow up with their mother. Daniel's tears here aren't for them, however, they're for him. Briefly, another detective enters the room, and though she has a lot of questions for Daniel, he has one he wants to ask first.
Where is Christy?
Where is she?
She's still in the house.
I believe so. I mean, she's somewhere at the house. So, again, I haven't been there. I've just been here working on other things. Obviously, we're trying to, get a hold of, what is his name, Anthony, or, is that what he goes by?
I think so.
Okay. That's her ex, is that right?
For years.
That's totally bizarre, right?
We call him Kickman.
Kickman? How come?
Doesn't deserve a name.
Yeah.
And said, Mommy's gonna kick it. So he's Kickman.
I don't know, did anybody ask you how I had heard that the cameras get turned off at your house at some point? How does that happen?
They're not supposed to.
Okay.
They're not supposed to, General. Internet interruption.
Okay.
They'll sometimes go offline. But they're not supposed to turn off. That's the point.
Right. So is it app-based or something? Because, I know, okay.
It's Google Nest cameras.
Oh, okay.
I have 4 already up. I have 2 more in the garage. Just need to decide where to put them. Christine was going to
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 seconds.
At this point, the detective was taken out of the room by fellow detectives watching the interaction on camera. Fearing that her questioning may be crossing the line since they haven't read Daniel his Miranda rights, and at this point are considering him a suspect, they usher her out to enter with a new game plan. No longer are they going to handle this like they're sitting across from a grieving husband.
So, obviously, we've been here for a little bit, and, you're wanting to leave and everything, but we still need a lot of stuff answered and whatnot, okay? But just because of the time and everything like that, we have to go over some formality stuff, okay?
Okay.
And just given that you were the last one to see Christine, we want to go over your constitutional rights. Just like I've gone over with the consent to searches and all the forms that we've signed leading up to this, we just now need to talk about your rights so we can proceed with getting the answers that we both want.
Yeah. I have 2 different voices going through my head right now. I have my brother Matthew. Yeah, I've mentioned him. He's the sheriff's lieutenant. And I have his voice saying, talk to the police. And in typical cop fashion, he married a prosecutor. So I have Lynn's voice in my head going, get a lawyer. I just want this to be done. I don't want to go home. I just don't want to be here.
When may be your birthday, Dan?
10/24.
That makes you 44.
43.
43.
It's not 2024 quite yet.
No. Just trying to get past this next year already. Like I said, you're obviously versed in kind of what I want to talk about, but I I just want to make sure we go over them, okay? That way it's clear. So this is our generic form we have for everybody. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to speak with an attorney and to have him or her present during questioning. If you cannot afford an attorney, the court will appoint one for you free of charge. You have the right to stop this interview at any time. Do you understand all that stuff?
I think so.
Do you have any questions about that stuff?
No, I don't think so.
Keeping all of that in mind, is this something that you want to continue to chat about?
I guess.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Daniel goes over his timeline of events with the detectives. Christelle dropped one child off at school, and he dropped one off at the nearby bus stop. He left for work, and soon after, Christelle stopped responding to his texts. According to him, at least. But later evidence would show that the text from Christelle claiming to be meeting with Detective Martinez was actually sent from her phone by Daniel after she was murdered. Yet another part of his carefully crafted, albeit stupid, plan to get away with murder.
And maybe you've already asked this, but again, I'm just going to throw it out there. The meeting with Detective Martinez today, did she tell you specifically what that was about or why it was occurring? Okay.
All I have is the one sentence in the text message that I already gave him.
Okay. And then tell me a little bit more about your guys' relationship. Like, I kind of want the intimate details, to be perfectly honest, because it's important for us to understand what's sort of led up to today. I mean, like, what's a normal You were super detailed in your account of the last 24 hours, but none of it really included your relationship or your interaction. It's very, and I know how families are. I have my own family. It's very much like a business, right? We all have our roles and we all got to get it done. But what's going on with you guys? Because it seems like there's been a lot of stress on your relationship.
We are not in a good place.
Okay.
We have not been in a good place for a while.
Okay.
I told her I wanted counseling. She said no.
And when was that? Sort of ultimatum. Long time ago?
Yeah, months.
Okay.
We live together. We have joint finances. We obviously co-parent the kids. We do maintain separate bedrooms. That's kind of where we are in the ebb and flow of a relationship.
Okay.
It's tough enough to say this. Just let me get it out.
Sure.
So, other than talking about the kids, there hasn't been a lot of dialogue for a little while. I can't put a time frame on it. It hurt me that she didn't tell me about the stalker when it started, but she brought me in right away once he sent her a picture of me. I think that was Thanksgiving, Halloween.
Okay.
So she told me the next day, and I was definitely hurt and angry that she was keeping that as a secret. She said that she'd been confiding in her brother Lars, and so.
Did she ever tell you why she didn't tell you that?
Because she and I were
okay.
Not in a good and healthy place. Well, not the phrase I should say. So she was confiding more in him. Once she told me I wanted access to her logs. I wanted to know what the conversations were with Martinez. And at that point, she brought me fully up to speed, and I saw horrible messages. I saw the ad, all that crap. And that's when she and I started working on game plans. Again, what do we do to protect family, to protect the kids? Define your threat level, so that we had a clear plan of attack. We could just say, we're at nuclear, that's a full lockdown, here's what it means. We're at red, here's what that means.
And the kids were kind of involved in that too, because you kind of shared a little bit with that the kids were somewhat aware of what was going on. But
they had to know enough to be cautious. I started carrying these weapons. Christelle also has her own pepper spray. She started carrying a handgun that her father had given her, right up until she took it to a range and it jammed, and she decided she didn't trust it anymore, so she went out and bought a new one.
Okay.
So she had a gun, she was armed. I don't want lethal items. We didn't let each other kind of be alone anywhere. Had to take dogs for walks. We would do that together.
So it almost sounds like all this kind of maybe even brought you guys closer, not maybe emotionally closer, but you guys were physically sort of working on things besides your kids.
There was a
mutual...
Yeah, there was... Over the course of November, there was a better team feel.
Okay.
And that's exactly what Dan wanted. To this day, detectives believe that he was posing as Christelle's ex in an attempt to force her back into his arms. But despite her fear, Christelle was determined not to stay with a man who she didn't love.
And so, after our earlier interview, with things nagging at me and her not answering my questions, I got to a point where it wasn't an ultimatum, but it was I had her as a partner to protect the family, but it didn't feel like a partner who valued me. And I told her at that point, I told her I didn't want to die for someone who didn't care about me anymore.
That's really hard.
And I told her I wanted a divorce.
And when did that conversation happen?
Oh, weeks ago, before Thanksgiving.
Okay. And how did she take that?
Angry. Obviously. Mostly anger that I said it now, with everything else going on. So she said she didn't want to talk about it until all of this was done. And then he got quiet, and we just kind of sat in that. And so we kind of alternated conversations between how do we protect the kids, how do we secure the house, how do we start the process. And so we had already planned on doing Thanksgiving in multiple locations because with the ad we were really, really scared.
So do you think she wanted to get a divorce? Or do you think is that why she shut you down? Like, we're not doing anything until this is over? When you kind of had your epiphany of it sounds like you feel like you were completely, I don't know, written off by her, or that she had zero care for you anymore.
I don't want a divorce.
Okay.
I have loved her for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was hurting when I said that, and what I wanted was her to say she cared about me. But she didn't. And she was ready for a divorce. So we talked about how do you divvy up the assets. We own 2 houses. On its face, that should be easy. We're both on both mortgages. That's a pain. So we were talking through how do you start to do that? And so I would say it was as amicable as it could be for 2 people who may or may not have really wanted it.
Okay.
But Christine did want it. So much, in fact, that she confided in her friends and family that while she was originally going to wait until her children graduated, she could no longer wait. She wanted to get the divorce as soon as possible. She told several people that Daniel was desperate to keep their marriage together and wouldn't even discuss the possibility of divorcing. That's a far cry from the relationship that Dan is trying to portray here.
Can I just ask, what do you think happened today with Christine? What do you think? What's your theory?
I don't know.
Well, you gotta have one. I mean, I'm sure a million different thoughts have run through your mind. What do you think happened?
I left. She was in the kitchen. She would have had whatever meetings that she had. And then she said she was meeting with you. But you know nothing about that, so I have no idea what that is. What's his name? The other detective said that the cameras were turned off. That shouldn't happen. The only way that the cameras can be turned off is through the app. One of us has to hit the button. Internet outage will cause something that doesn't turn them off. It just interrupts the feed for a couple minutes. He said they were turned off. And one of them looks like it has something on it. So, in my brain, I'm thinking someone made a move against her. I don't know where the dog is. He's somewhere in the house. Really jumpy, skittish dog. She has a gun that she carries around. It's always in one of 3 places. Well, I guess 4. It's either on her. She has I think 3 different holsters now. It's either on her. If she's in her office, it's on the filing cabinet directly behind her. If she's anywhere else on the first floor, it's on here, the high counter next to the plants. Always. It's either here, or if she's upstairs, it is sitting next to the headboard. So, in my brain, someone came to the door. It's Christmas time. I have Amazon packages being delivered every damn day. Someone came to the door. She doesn't usually answer the door. But she must have, because she must have. So in my brain, the story that I have is someone came to the door. Maybe she went outside to get a package, and they must have come in. And she's a fighter. She is strong. She would have fought. That's why I warned them when I was at the house, and I asked, did she get any shots off? She has a gun. She just went through the concealed carry class. She has an appointment to get her license. She had to have been surprised, but without a doubt, she fought.
And why do you say that? Have you guys fought before, or you just know that?
No.
Okay.
I know her.
Okay.
She refuses to be a victim. I don't know. Gun, no gun, she will fight.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
So, you think either she was taken off guard or it was somebody familiar to her?
I don't know who familiar would have been. She had to have been taken off guard. Because the familiar would be people don't just swing by the house. It just doesn't happen. I was at work. I assume Lars was at work. Her parents are retired, but nobody just swings by.
It seems that Dan is completely missing the fact that if nobody would just swing by, the house wasn't broken into, and Christine would have fought. That leaves her being ambushed by him as the likely scenario. Detectives believe that's exactly what happened as she was trying to leave for work. Dan incapacitated her from behind with a heavy object and then stabbed her, ending her life. Dan gave away his plan in a Google search he made on his work computer the day before Christine was killed. The search? How hard to hit someone to knock them unconscious. Sadly, it seems he got his answer. Fortunately, he wasn't smart enough to realize how incriminating looking for that answer was.
So, I mean, who do you think killed her?
I think it's Kickman. I think it's Anthony.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that's the first time anyone said that sentence.
I'm sorry well, that's what happened, and that's why we're taking this so seriously.
I think it was Kickman. Anthony, I'm sorry. If not him, I have no other suggestion. Yeah.
What if I told you that we had already spoken with Anthony and there's no way that he was in town today?
I have nothing. And I'm terrified to bring my children home.
What are you terrified of?
If it wasn't him, who was it? I replaced all of our locks after the garage intruder. I'll do it again. I got the cameras. I don't know who else.
Okay. So there's a lot of moving parts to this investigation. There's a lot of things that we're doing and working on, and a lot of, our entire investigations unit, I would say, fairly is working on this, right? Because, like I said, we take this very seriously. This doesn't happen very often in Broomfield. And
lived here for a long time.
We take all crime very seriously, especially crime like this. So, one of the things that we really started looking into today in an effort to find Anthony is what is it? The Gmail. What was the other?
Text now numbers.
The text now numbers and things like that. And
I don't know what text now is.
It's like an app that you can get fake phone numbers and contact people through Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a Wi-Fi only.
Oh, the spoofing. Gotcha.
Kinda.
Yeah, not really spoofing, but like if I wanted to text somebody, let's say I was buying something on Craigslist and I didn't want them to know my real phone number because I don't want them coming back to me or whatever, I would just get a text now account and it would, almost like a Google Voice, whatever, okay? So, the really weird part about looking into some of that stuff, because we have what we call exigent circumstances right now. You understand what that means? Like, so for us in our legal mumbo jumbo, that means that someone died, and we're looking into it very seriously. And so there's an sense of urgency in getting that information.
Gotcha.
Okay, so companies are more likely to cooperate with us if we're investigating that versus a harassment or a stalking or...
Okay.
Remember how we talked, when I submit my legal paperwork, it takes a while.
Yeah.
But because somebody was murdered today, we have the ability to tell them that, and then they will generally provide us with information immediately. That's what exigent circumstances means.
Okay.
Because we're trying to find the killer.
So some of that information that we've been able to receive today is a little bit, I don't know, concerning, I guess. The Gmail account that, and you can speak more specifically.
And that text now number we were talking about, the number that he initially texted Christine from. The Gmail account, the Kickman account that you guys initially received with the photo of you in it, and the phone number, those originated through their IP addresses at your office.
It doesn't make any sense. Well, he took the photo of me at my office.
Right. But both of those accounts originated from IP addresses that list back to your office.
I don't know what to do with that.
He didn't know what to do with that because somehow, despite controlling finances for an entire district and supposedly being intelligent, he never thought sending the emails from his work computer would come back to him. Not only did he send threatening emails to Christine from his work computer under a fake email address he made, but he texted her from two separate numbers, one being the original track phone he bought in October, and another being a text now number that he got on his main phone. When he initially texted Christine with the track phone number and she didn't respond, he even sent a text to his work phone, reading test to ensure the phone was working. Once more, just a reminder, this genius was in charge of the finances for an entire district.
Because right now we're working with the director to get all of the IP information to see what devices we're using that specific address during that time. So,
okay.
Because I guess the biggest concern is just the timing of everything, that it just doesn't quite make sense to have somebody create an account, take a photo, and then immediately send it off, and then the account is no longer being used.
None of this makes any sense.
And also, let's add on top of that the fact that there's, as far as we know right now, there's no physical way that Kickman could have been involved in this based on where he's at right now. So, you know, the mystery continues, and
it has to be that.
Well,
things are certainly pointing in one direction right now.
Well, and you've given us reason. Here's the other thing, Daniel, is I sympathize with the fact that you're in an extremely frustrating situation, and I don't think that your married life is anything that I would want to be a part of. I know you want to be a part of your kids' lives. So all I'm saying is I can understand, or I can try to understand how frustrating or how frustrated you must feel. But you can also sense that's why we're asking all these questions about infidelity and everything else. Is there some other mystery man that we don't know about? Or is this a case of...
I have been faithful. Period. I want to believe that she has, but I don't know. Is there another person? I don't know.
I mean, you said yourself, too, and I'm just going to put it out there, because I think we're all thinking it, or at least probably we are, is that, and when you're telling the story, I drew that conclusion, that a lot of this stalking stuff in this report that you guys, of this kick man, has brought you closer, and maybe given a little bit of hope in your relationship that you can accomplish something together.
I don't know where you're going with that. I'm sorry.
You're using this,
My brain is fried.
I'm sure.
kind of using this circumstance to bring you guys closer together. You yourself said that. Having the common goal of circling the
I
wagons.
said something along the lines that it felt like we had more teamwork.
Right.
I think there's a big gap between teamwork and rekindling a romance.
Yeah. But it delays the inevitable.
But I asked for the divorce.
And I think we've also heard the same thing about Cristal today. Cristal, I'm sorry.
What was the next point about it?
Because I'm going to throw this idea out there. Right? You know Anthony has reached out to her in the past, number of times.
She's been very open about that, yes.
Right. The last time was 2016-ish. He had asked her at one point if she wanted to have.
I think he's approached her multiple times.
Right. So this next time, if there's any bit of question about infidelity, whether it's with Anthony or anybody else, we might create an account to see if we can create a facade or see if Christine's actually interested in Anthony. So we ask her and push the bounds a little bit and see if that will confirm our suspicions of infidelity. You don't get the response and the openness you once did for about 28 days, from October 2nd to October 31st. To amp it up a little bit. Send a photo of yourself to her at an account you created. See what her response is.
I mean, the IT department, in fact, I can go check on where we're at with those records. But a lot of this stuff is going to shine through. My hope is just that we can at least be honest about those things and agree that maybe this started out the way that it was reported and then maybe it turned into something different.
Because that would suggest that I would put my children through this. We were drilling the kids on what to do if we said, look, that they had to pair up, they had to run. I'm looking into counseling for the kids. Figure out when the heck to start that. I get the narrative you're putting together, but it alleges that I would do this to my children.
The real tragedy of this case is that Daniel did do this to his children, and it wasn't just killing his mother that he subjected them to, but weeks and weeks of terror. Christine urged her children to run drills, not wanting them to be targets of her stalker. She felt that the only way to ensure that they were safe was to make them informed, no matter how challenging that was for her. Daniel watched as his wife and his children practiced how to fight off an intruder, and yet he still sent messages threatening to break into their house and harm them.
I love and adore my children.
You're afraid to lose time with them if you get the divorce.
Well, provide us a different explanation then. We know it's not Kickman. If you were watching these facts unfold in front of you in a movie, what would you say happened?
There has to be someone
that was able to turn off the cameras, that was able to access a password-protected system to turn off cameras, that was able to use your IP address from your work to create accounts, to send messages and photos, to act as a stalking suspect. Well, tell me. Help me make sense of it.
I don't know, I'm not the one who does this. I'm analytical at work, and I read and write fiction at home. I don't do crime drama. I don't know what this is.
Kickman is a 6.5-hour drive from here. There's no way he could have made that drive. If he flew, we would have record of that. That doesn't show up on any sort of flight record through the FBI, DEA, Homeland Security, anything like that. And then, in fact, he was contacted in his house, severely intoxicated.
All this time that we've been looking for him, for the protection order, and you just found him today, like that?
Because I've been looking at you, but I've been waiting for these records to come back.
We've been chasing the wrong dog.
Am I under arrest? It sounds like you're accusing me.
We have a lot of information that points your direction, and we were hoping that you could provide a legitimate explanation other than it wasn't me.
At this point, police have suspected Daniel for several days, partially because Christine herself suspected Daniel was behind the messages. When she purchased a gun from a friend, she told her, sadly, "I can't even rule out my husband."
I don't have a narrative or a story that I can offer you. Because I thought we were on the same side.
We are on the same side. Safety, figuring out the truth.
what would you think, or what would you say if we told you that other people you talk to that are close to your wife expressed that she had maybe told them that she suspected you of having...
She said that right to my face. That she wanted to know if it was me. And I told her.
But why would she suspect that? I don't understand how we take the leap from we haven't had a romantic relationship for a long time in our marriage to I suspect my husband is pretending to be my stalker. How does that happen? There's a missing explanation in there. There's a missing piece to that. I mean, human nature. There has to be some. I get that you're very calm. You seem like a very calm, logical guy. Like
Consider yourself analytical.
Analytical. I get that, but human nature. There are going to be volatile, heated, whatever word you want to use, moments in a relationship where you love someone and you don't feel it back. And I haven't heard a lot of that from you. Although it sure sounds like she was accusing you of everything and not giving you any love or support or even making you feel like she cared. So there has to be more to there has to be more to your story even with her. I don't know. How do you explain the cameras being turned off then? If it's some mystery man. Because I'm also pretty sure that Google's going to be able to tell us what device turned those cameras off.
But it can't be mine. I didn't turn them on. I put them up. I brought out the electrician to hardwire everything. I brought them back, but I did a shit job. I don't have a story to tell you. I wish I did.
Are you hungry or anything?
No. I'm tired. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. I want to hug my children. And I want to know that they're safe. And I need to figure out where the hell they're sleeping tonight. I've answered a bunch of your questions. Can you please answer mine? Where is Christine?
She's still at the house.
I want to go see my children. I've explained this to others. In my family, when bad things happen, you don't scatter. I want to see my children. Are we done here? Are we done here?
Well, that's up to you. I mean, I think we still have a lot of unanswered questions. But, I mean, I'd like to know what happened this morning. I'd like to know
Me too.
what caused you to get so upset to hurt your wife, because I believe that's what happened. I believe that you've been because there's no other logical explanation.
I want to know what happened to her. Did she fight? Did she get shots off? was she in the house? I have Linda, who said they were doing CPR in the garage. And that's all I know. So tell me, did she fight? Did she get shots on? Where is she in the house?
We haven't been there to know. And there's only one person in this room that can tell us. Detective King Solomon and I have been here with you.
I think you know the answer to all those questions. And I think that the evidence will show us that, but we're not there to look at it because we're hopeful that you're going to tell us the truth about what happened, and finally show your wife that you truly do love her by coming clean on all this stuff.
And there has to be someone else. There has to be.
Obviously, there was no one else, but there is a motive that police haven't uncovered yet. Just a few days before her murder, Christine showed her mother an incriminating photo on her phone. Now, to this day, it hasn't been publicly revealed what this photo showed, but it was enough for both Christine, her mother, and detectives to believe that Christine would have 100% gotten full custody of her children in the divorce. She had some kind of evidence of poor behavior or violence that meant she would be able to separate her children from Daniel for good, and he decided his plan of reconciliation was no longer working. So instead, he did the unthinkable.
I think you got confirmation or found out that she had a boyfriend this morning, or something happened that pissed you off, and you did something that you regret now because you can't go back. And you can't go back to, stalking her secretly, or pretending to be her stalker, or making plans, having cooperation with one another, although it's not romantic, having cooperation with one another to fight together against Kickman. That's what I think happened. And I think it's a shame that you're not being more honest about it, because your wife deserves it.
I've answered all of your questions that I can. Please let me know when I can return to my house. I need to figure out what the heck to do for a dog. I need to take care of my children. You have your theory. It is wrong. Please find the right moment. When you're done, please have my thoughts and the keys to my car.
So the last thing that we're going to do before we get to that point is we need to process you for physical evidence, okay?
And is this the point where on whatever that checklist is, I say, I'll have an attorney?
Yeah, that's fine. But the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to process you for physical evidence.
I don't know what that means.
Let me explain it, okay? But you're trying to rush out of here, and we still have about 15 minutes together, so we can take care of all of that stuff, okay? So we need to collect your clothes, we need to take the buccal swab sample that we talked about earlier. And before we get out of here, we need to take overall photos and collect your clothes. Okay?
Okay.
So give us about 5 minutes. I'm going to go make sure my CSI tech is here so we can take care of that on the sooner side, okay?
What clothes do I get?
We have extra
I
clothes.
can't leave here.
You're not going to.
arrest me for that.
Ultimately, just 2 days after Christine's murder, Daniel was arrested at a local grocery store on charges of murder in the first degree. At trial, he continued to claim that he didn't kill his wife, yet it only took the jury a few hours to reach their verdict: guilty on all counts. Daniel was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for first-degree murder, 2 counts of stalking, and felony criminal impersonation. At trial, Christile's family was thankful to have justice. And in the audience, someone else was too. The real Anthony, Christile's ex-boyfriend, attended, telling the media that Christile saved his life by pushing him on the right path after their breakup all those years ago.